Welcome to Sacred Wandering with Keira. My friend, this is a corner of the world where time stops, where the noise in our minds quiet, where we have soft hearts and we open our palms and we ask. This is a place where we receive. I invite you to join me as we wander through the sacred together. Welcome to Sacred Wandering. Good morning, my love. It's been a bit. I apologize, and it's needed to happen. So today, I need to tell you why I haven't been recording. I couldn't figure out why. It was so hard for me to get here. What was my resistance? And I saw it 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago. I was sitting in Miami because 5 days earlier, God told me I needed to be in Miami. There was a red carpet for Rudy Maurer, who is my producer. And it was for his Legacy Makers TV series, which I was a part of and my authors were a part of. And I didn't feel like I was supposed to be there. It was a week that I had children. And I didn't want to miss it. I didn't want to miss my time with my children. But 5 days prior, God told me I needed to be in Miami. And I said, no, I'm not going. And then again, it came, and again, it came. And so I finally bought my tickets and figured things out. And then the night before, at 11 p.m., I got a text from my producer. And he asked if he could premiere my TV show, Writer's Island, at the red carpet event. And I knew that this is why God had told me I needed to come. But I didn't know the gravity of it until I sat there with 500 people around me, feeling them witness a vision that God had given me a 1.5 years earlier. A vision that was the most stressful, intense pressure I had ever experienced. And as I watched this vision come to life, and as I felt it impact people's hearts, and I felt them witness us praying, and I felt them feel God in this trailer, I saw God's hand in all of this. And then I realized that while I still bless my body every morning, I still pray every morning, and God still gives me a message every single morning, I had stopped talking to God because this vision had been too big. It had felt like too much. It had felt as though God had asked me to do something and then left me to hold it on my own. And it just got heavier and heavier in the last 8 weeks. And so it was hard for me to even come in and do this podcast because I didn't even see it. I didn't even know it. But I had shut God out. Not completely. But I was over it. I was over living. I just felt like God had deserted me in the biggest vision of my life. But on Sunday night, when I saw the vision come to life, I felt my heart soften. And all I could feel was gratitude for a God who had given me such a huge vision, for a God who didn't desert me, but who let me become in the fire of this vision. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful that God asked me to do this TV show. I'm so grateful that God trusted me with such a sacred vision. And I'm even grateful that it felt as though God deserted me in the fire of the becoming, because I am stronger, I am sturdier, and this show is going to change the world. And so I am back. I am back with you. I am back with God. And I hope that this message just reminds you that the visions that God gives us are for us. And it's interesting because 1 year ago, I wrote a book called Transfiguration that came out a week ago today. And in that vision of that book, God had shown me Moses, and God told me that Moses did not need to become transfigured to sit at the foot of God. For God would have sat with Moses as he was. God told me that the transfiguration occurred in the vision of what God was asking Moses to do. It was the greatness and the bigness of the vision that transfigured Moses. And as I sat in gratitude on Sunday night, God reminded me of this, that it was the vision of this show, the bigness of it, that called me into a transfiguration, and that the fire that is so spoken about in the stories of Moses in the bush, the fire is the fire of becoming. And so today, my message is just simply this, to remind you that God gives you a vision so big that you must pass through fire to become it. And so today we're going to go into prayer, and I'm going to invite you to pick up whatever walls you've had between you and God, whatever beliefs you've had that God has deserted you in the middle of a vision, and you're going to put it into God. So we're going to pick it up, and we're going to put it in. We're going to ask that God will transfigure this moment and show you that you are not alone, that you are seen, that you are heard, that you are indeed in the becoming. And then I'm going to ask that God will touch your cells, that your cells may match the blueprint of liberation, of freedom, of miracles. And then we are going to ask that God may place his hands on your head to give you a blessing, that you may receive the words that are for you today. And I will be quiet while you pray. Take a nice deep breath in and allow those words to move through your bones today, that they create a sturdiness to you, a surety that God knows you, that God loves you, and that you are not alone. I'm going to invite you to open your palms and ask, God, what is the most important thing I do today? What is my most important action? You're going to listen. And then you are going to do. For when we collapse time between inspiration and action, we step into the realms of a miracle worker. And I'm going to ask that your angels may pour love around you from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, grounding you into the deepest place of rest, that all is for you, that you have everything you need, and that you are so loved by God. And with that, I want to thank you for wandering into the sacred with me. And I will see you tomorrow morning in our prayer corner. Thank you for wandering into the sacred with me today. If this episode moved or inspired you, I encourage you to share it. Think of someone who needs this message today and text it to them. Let's add more light to the world by welcoming people into our prayer corner together. I also want to invite you to create your own prayer corner at home, a space set apart where you can return again and again to hear God's voice. To support you, I've created the Sacred Space course, which guides you step by step in locating, creating, and dedicating your very own sacred space. You're also welcome into the Sacred Wandering Facebook group, where you can share the blessings that God is giving you and be uplifted by others walking this path. You can find both of these resources in the show notes, or just send me a DM on Instagram at Keira Brinton, and me or my team will send them directly to you. I want to thank you for being one of the rare humans who chooses to sit at the foot of God, to ask, listen, and do. And as always, I want to thank you for wandering into the sacred with me.